right, you badge-wearing busybodies and donut-dunking detectives. Welcome back to the 34th installment of the Tentacles of Cuyahoga County, where we dive deeper into police drama than a rookie's first cavity search. I'm your host, the infamous ex-chief, here to serve you a steaming hot plate of justice with a side of snark. This is the week of November 11th, and that means it's Veterans Day. Today, we're peeling back the thin blue line faster than a stripper at a police union fundraiser. We'll be celebrating the boys and girls in blue who actually remember their oath wasn't written on a napkin at Dunkin' Donuts, while also keeping our magnifying glass on those who think to protect and serve is just a cute bumper sticker. So buckle up, buttercups. We're about to go on a wild ride through the streets of law enforcement, separating the true guardians from the trigger-happy cowboys faster than internal affairs can say paid administrative leave. Get ready to extend those investigative tentacles into the murky waters of police shenanigans and heroics. It's time to cover them and stuff them with knowledge, that is. On this Veterans Day, we at the Tentacles of Cuyahoga County want to extend our heartfelt gratitude to all the brave men and women who have served our nation. Your sacrifice, courage, and dedication have protected our freedoms and way of life. Whether you served in times of war or peace, your commitment to our country has not gone unnoticed. We honor your service and the sacrifices made by you and your families. Your bravery and selflessness inspire us all. Today and every day, we thank you for defending our nation and preserving the values we hold dear. To all veterans watching, I salute you, thank you for your service, and happy Veterans Day. Now let's dive into the murky waters of police shenanigans across this great nation. First up, we've got a real barnyard bonanza from Cullman, Alabama. Seems like the local yokels decided to spice up their Monday with a little animal action. We've got everything from runaway cows to rogue roosters, causing more chaos than a fox in a henhouse. Our brave officers had to trade in their tasers for lassos, proving once again that sometimes the long arm of the law needs to get a little rural. Moving on to Newton, where the local troublemakers have been working overtime. From October 21st to November 4th, we've had a parade of petty crimes that would make even a kindergarten teacher blush. Highlights include a daring escape of a dog from its yard and the thrilling case of the missing political sign. Oh, the humanity. Thank goodness our boys in blue are on the case, keeping Newton safe from such heinous acts of mild inconvenience. Last but not least, we've got a somber reminder from Delaware that sometimes the need for speed leads to a need for emergency services. On November 4th, a motorcyclist decided to test the limits of physics and lost. Our officers were on the scene faster than you can say organ donor. And there you have it, folks. Another week of top-notch policing from sea to shining sea. Tune in next time when we'll be diving into more thrilling tales of justice served with a side of a donut. All right, Tentacle Nation, it's time to wrap your tentacles around that subscription button and give it a good squeeze. Don't forget to like and subscribe right now. I mean, what else are you going to do? Watch Michael O'Malley indict more police for doing their jobs? Come on! Show some love for the Tentacles of Cuyahoga County. Hit that subscribe button faster than our esteemed county prosecutor can misplace evidence. And while you're at it, smash that like button harder than a Lake Erie wave crashing into the shore. Do it now before you get distracted by another pothole or passing pierogi truck. Remember, every subscription feeds our tentacled overlords. And trust me, you don't want them hangry. So go on, make those algorithm appeasing clicks. Your support keeps us afloat in these murky waters of content creation. Subscribe now or risk being dragged into the depths of irrelevance, much like O'Malley's career. If you've got your ear to the ground, then let's keep the gossip flowing. And if you've got something to spill, don't hold back. Send your secret messages to the Tentacles of Cuyahoga County at gmail.com or hit me up on Signal. Everything you need is in the description below. Remember, all gossip is fair game here. If you're enjoying the juicy tidbits and snarky commentary we serve up here on the Tentacles of Cuyahoga County, why not fuel our caffeine addiction and keep the gossip mill grinding? You can buy me a cup of coffee by scanning the QR code or hitting the link in the description below. Every cup helps keep the lights on and the snark flowing. So thank you for your support. Whether it's a latte or a straight up espresso shot, your contribution keeps us buzzing. Cheers to you and our caffeinated community, Tentacle Nation. So remember, folks, I will and I promise to get into the Canton police indictments on an upcoming show, and I've got a lot to talk to you. There's actually all sorts of things that I'm sidelining here. Also want to talk about some reports that came out from the, I believe it's OPATA. I keep getting corrected. I'm so old school, you know. OPATA, OPOTC, OPTA, the Ohio Police and Training Council, I think, is the one that actually puts on the training. And I've got some reports that I want to share with you, but I want to get to our main focus right now, and that's finishing up Janice and Christensen. This episode is about her killer, and how bizarre. But we'll get into it in a second. Stay tuned. So I find myself always using the word hesitant. And it's generally because I'm second guessing myself on whether I should bring something up or talk about something. Normally, I think if you've watched this channel, you know who I am. You know that I have quite a bit of experience in homicides. And I never like to capitalize on the killer. Normally. That's why when I did the episodes here relevant to the Janice Christensen homicide, I wanted to highlight her life and not the life of the killer. But I want to make an exception in this case because his story is quite unique. Because I think had someone done their job better, that Thomas Collier Jordan wouldn't have been on the streets. So that's why I'm going to close out this series talking about Thomas Collier Jordan. So now we're going to get on to the main topic of this episode. Today, we're diving deep into the disturbing life and crimes of Thomas Collier Jordan, the man recently identified as Janice Christensen's killer. What you're about to hear is a tale of repeated offenses, inexplicable releases, and a justice system that failed its citizens time and time again. Thomas Collier Jordan was born in Cleveland, Ohio in 1926. His criminal career began early, setting the stage for decades of violence and terror. Jordan's first recorded arrest came at the age of 17 in Cleveland. This wasn't just teenage mischief, it was the beginning of a long and horrifying criminal history. Throughout the 1940s and 50s, Jordan's criminal activities took him across the country. He faced arrests in Louisiana and Michigan, often using aliases like Robert Smith, but somehow he always managed to slip through the cracks of the justice system. Now you might be thinking, surely after multiple arrests, the system would recognize the danger this man posed. But you'd be wrong. Jordan's ability to remain free, despite his growing rap sheet, is nothing short of astounding. The 1960s saw Jordan's crimes escalate. He was convicted of grand larceny in Ohio in 1959 and burglary in 1961. Yet time and time again, he found himself back on the streets. But it was in the 1970s that Jordan's true nature became horrifyingly clear. In 1976, he was convicted of a brutal crime in Cuyahoga County, Ohio: rape, stabbing, and burglary. The similarities to the Christensen case are chilling. Now let's pause for a moment and consider this. After a conviction for such a violent crime, you'd expect Jordan to be locked away for good, right? Wrong. Incredibly, Jordan's life became a revolving door of prison sentences and parole violations. He'd be released only to reoffend and return behind bars. This pattern continued for decades. The absurdity of this situation cannot be overstated. A man with a history of violent crimes, repeatedly released back into society, it's a failure of the system that led to devastating consequences. Which brings us to 1987, the year Jordan committed the crimes that would eventually lead to his identification as Janice Christensen's killer. On May 25th, 1987, Michelle Pewitt Howard, a 17-year-old girl, was raped at the Top of the World Park in Cuyahoga Falls. The details of her attack were strikingly similar to what would happen just weeks later in Hudson Township. We still don't know exactly how Jordan got to the Top of the World Park. Was he lying in wait on the trail? Did he follow Pewitt Howard from the parking lot? These questions still remain unanswered to this day. But what we do know is that Jordan, a man with a history of violent crimes, was free to commit this heinous act. Then on August 10th, 1987, Janice Christensen went for a jog on the Metro bike path in Hudson Township. She never returned home. Her body was found the next day. She had been raped and stabbed multiple times. And once again, we're left with unanswered questions. We don't know exactly where Jordan was when he attacked Janice. Was he already in the trail, lying in the wait? Was he in the parking lot? How did he get there? If you didn't tune in last week, you need to go back and watch my interview with the original investigator on the case, Mike Tenlin. And they, even to this day, still have no idea how she got where she got. He felt that her body had been transported there by some manner and left there because there was lack of any blood transfer on the place where she actually was located, her body was located. But I'm telling you, folks, I put up video, B-roll video. It's a pretty decent distance. And if you've looked at Collier, he didn't look like a very large person with large muscles. And I don't know if you've ever heard the expression dead weight, but regardless of what Janice Christensen weighed, I just don't know that he would have been able to carry her very far. Did he have help? Did he have some sort of other means? I don't know. And again, these are the questions that still are going to go on and probably never will be answered. What we do know is that after the attack, Jordan took Janice's car and drove it to Bedford, Ohio. This detail adds another layer of the complexity to the case. We talked to, again, Mike Tenlin, the original investigator, and he wasn't certain if Jordan lived there or how he got there or why he was there, why the car ended up there. They had investigated some people in Bedford, but again, just another question that probably will never be answered. But the most infuriating aspect of the crime is that it could have been prevented. Jordan should never have been free to commit these atrocities. In the years following the Christensen murder, Jordan continued his criminal activities in 1998. He was arrested in El Centro, California, for drug trafficking. Yet again, he found himself back on the streets. The pattern of Jordan's releases is mind-boggling. Each time he was freed, he posed a clear and present danger to society, and each time the system failed to protect potential victims. Sometime around 2003, Jordan is believed to have arrived in Yuma, Arizona. And we don't have specific information about what he was doing there prior to his death in 2009. Thomas Collier Jordan died in Yuma, Arizona in 2009 at the age of 83. Due to his indigent status, he was buried in Yuma's Pioneer Cemetery. He took his secrets to the grave, or so we thought. In recent years, cold case investigators reopened the Christensen case. Thanks to advancements in DNA technology, they were able to create a profile of the killer. This profile was run through databases, leading to a match with Thomas Collier Jordan. To confirm the results, investigators exhumed Jordan's body in Yuma, Arizona in April of 2024. The match was confirmed after 37 years. Janice Christensen's killer had finally been identified. The breakthrough brings a measure of closure to the Christensen family and our community. But it also raises disturbing questions about our justice system. Could Jordan be responsible for other unsolved crimes? Investigators are now reviewing cold cases across the country, looking for potential connections. Jordan is known to have ties to Ohio, Arizona, Nevada, California, Louisiana, and Michigan. And that's just what we know. The identification of Thomas Collier Jordan as Janice Christensen's killer underscores the importance of never giving up on cold cases. It's a testament to the dedication of our law enforcement and the advancements in forensic science. But it also serves as a stark reminder of the failures in our criminal justice system. How many times was Jordan arrested, convicted, and then released, only to re-offend again? How many victims could have been spared if he had been kept behind bars? While we can't undo the pain caused by Jordan's actions, we can hope that this case serves as a wake-up call, a call for stricter monitoring of repeat violent offenders, for better communication between law enforcement agencies across state lines, and for a system that prioritizes the safety of potential victims over the freedom of known violent criminals. As we close this chapter on Christensen's case, we're left to wonder how many other victims are out there. How many other families are still waiting for answers? And how many other Thomas Collier Jordans are walking free right now, thanks to a system that failed to recognize the danger they pose? We'll be back with the final segment. I hope that you guys have enjoyed this series on Janice Christensen. Again, this was actually given to me by a viewer. I hope that I did it justice. The records were voluminous, and as I attempted to weed it out eventually to paint a clear picture for these episodes, a lot of it was left out. There was a lot of work done here, folks. A lot of work. And unfortunately, most of it obviously didn't pan out until recently. But rest assured, law enforcement was actively pursuing this for a long time. And I, for one, thank them for bringing closure to the Christensen family, for clearing the name of her husband, who for the longest time has had this dark shadow probably following him, everybody wondering if he did it. So I'm glad, if nothing else, it was able to provide closure to him and closure to his name. We'll be back for the final segment. First off, I want to give a massive tentacle wrap thank you to each and every one of you. Your support is what keeps this channel swimming strong in the murky waters. In the last 28 days alone, you've given us a whopping 9,371 views. That's like filling the Akron Civic Theater twice over with tentacle enthusiasts. But it doesn't stop there. Lifetime, we're looking at an incredible 137,432 views. When it comes to watch time, you've been glued to your screens. We've racked up 235.3 watch hours in just the past month. Lifetime, we're talking about 5,500 hours. That's like binge watching every episode of The Simpsons 3 times over. Now let's talk about the heart of our community. You, the Tentacle Nation. We've welcomed 577 new tentacles to our ranks in just the last 28 days. That's like adding a whole new grade school of curious minds to our squishy family. And drum roll, please. We've now reached a total of 3,029 subscribers. That's enough to fill the Kent State University auditorium and still have people spilling out into the hallways. These numbers aren't just statistics. They represent real people. You, our amazing Tentacle Nation. Your engagement, your likes, your comments, and your shares are what make this channel thrive. Remember, every view, every subscription, every moment you spend with us contributes to our growth of our community. I couldn't do this without you, and I'm incredibly grateful for your support. So, from the depths of these murky waters, thank you for being part of this journey. Keep those tentacles wiggling, and we'll see you in the next video.
Negative, K, nothing further.